Hey everybody, it's Jordan from don'tbuythehype.blogspot.com here to talk about an interesting news story that broke this week, one regarding NFL football player Sam Hurd. Now again, if you don't follow the league very closely, you probably don't know who Sam Hurd is except for hearing his name in the news over the last day or so. He's a reserve wide receiver for the Chicago Bears. He gets a lot of his time there on special teams, but you know the big reason that Sam Hurd is in the news this week is because he was caught soliciting sales of drugs to an undercover agent. Talking about some of the details from the story, and again, you may have seen this, you may not have. If you haven't, then they were talking. He was trying to get 5 to 10 kilos of cocaine per week through this guy, 100 pounds of marijuana. He was looking to move each week. Obviously, he's been doing this for a while. Pretty much admitted to that as much. Looking to get more and more so that he could sell more and more each week. They said if he did move what he had asked for each week, that would be about $700,000 a week. Now, again, that's crazy money, but why would someone want to do something like that? We'll talk about that in a little bit. But for now, one of the other major stories, one of the major factors of this story is, when someone is moving that much drugs, it's probably, in terms of that dollar amount, not, he's not going to make $700,000 a week off of bums off the street. That's way too many transactions. So obviously there's people with a lot of money here that are the ones that he's running the drugs to. There's talking about a list of folks that he has sold to. There's rumors now that there's possibly NFL players that are on that list. I think in terms of a list, this will probably be the most anticipated list in sports since probably the Mitchell report came out with Major League Baseball and steroids back in late 2007, early 2008. So, it'll be interesting to see, are there any NFL players on that list? There's rumored to be some. There could be, there may not be. It'll be interesting to see, but I think that's a list that eventually the public is going to want to hear. Could he be bringing others down with him? Yes, definitely so. In terms of the charges that he's facing now, they're talking about now he faces a maximum of 40 years in prison. Again, that's a long time. That brings back the question that we talked about earlier. Why would he do something like this? Other than greed, I can't think of any reason why he would want to do that. Obviously, he's Sam Hurd. He's not, Brian Urlacher or Jay Cutler. He's not the highest paid player, Matt Forte, on the Bears. But, the guy makes a pretty decent living. I don't know his salary, I hadn't looked it up. But, you have to imagine it's probably, $750,000, $1 million, $1.5 million, somewhere around in there. Why would anyone need to risk, basically the rest of their adult life in prison for $700,000 a week? The only reason I see that is greed. Eventually there's some folks that think they're untouchable. The law will never catch up with them. Obviously Michael Vick is an example of that with his dogfighting ring. I don't think he ever thought, based on his elevation in the public status, that he ever thought he would get caught. And even if he did get caught, he thought he was bigger than the charges. Maybe Sam Hurd thought that as well as an NFL athlete. Maybe that, law enforcement would turn the other way or whatever. But, again, that's just kind of a crazy thing to think about. An NFL player making, more than any of us will probably make in a lifetime. He makes annually. But yet he sees the need to put his risk, or to risk his adult life to sell, drugs to make that much more money. Again, this is an interesting story. It's still developing. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, especially if there's a list that is released of the folks that he's dealt to. If there are already NFL players on that, to see what happens. Obviously, it did come down today that Sam Hurd was cut by the Chicago Bears. Obviously, that was an easy move for them to make. The story's still developing, like I'm saying, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Again, greed to me would be the only reason that there would be a need for someone to feel the need to go out and do something like this, so massively illegal. Again, that's the story of Sam Hurd. It'll still continue to develop. Tell me what you think. Drop a comment down in the box. And always remember, don't buy the hype. Good night.